Thought Bubble Audio.
Look, up in the sky.
You will never find the more wretched hive of scum and villainy.
Welcome to Beer with Geeks with Tim and Frank.
Who are you?
I'm Batman.
I am Iron Man.
Your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man.
Hi, Christopher. I'm Nero.
My name is Inigo Montoya.
You're a wizard, Harry.
A couple of guys with a couple of beers and a whole lot of pop culture nostalgia.
Make it so, number one.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Beatles.
Named the dog Indiana.
Life finds a way.
I am serious. And don't call me Shirley.
Now sit back and crack open a cold one, because it's time for Beer with Geeks.
It comes in paints.
Shaken, not stirred.
Great Scott!
I was way off. I knew it started with an S, though.
Hi, and welcome to Beer with Geeks, where two geeks geek out with beer. I'm Tim, and with me, as always, is my man who loves to fight at Christmas. It's Frank. How are you today?
Violent, but cheerful.
Violent, but cheerful. Good on you, Frank. Good for you.
Christmas fight.
What a magical person you are, truly. Truly.
I'm Rudolph, but we're about to have an antler fight.
I mean, you don't really see Rudolph with big antlers, but Rudolph would win. Blind that guy, just
yes.
Shine the nose. He's like, my eyes, and then just ram him with the antlers that are not actually sharp. But blunt. They would hurt.
Yes.
Frank, what are you drinking on this Christmas Eve?
I am. Ish. I am drinking a New Holland Cabin Fever brown ale, because if there's one thing we've all experienced this year, it's cabin fever.
I thought you were going to say Holland. I truly thought you were going to. If there's one thing we've experienced this year, it's Holland.
It's Holland.
What nice people live there. The Hollish. They're so nice.
Yep.
It's deck the halls. Yeah, I get it. They're very cheerful, Frank. They love to deck the halls in Holland.
You nailed it.
Oh, goodness gracious.
I found it.
Oh, my God. I found it. That's wonderful. Frank, I am not drinking alcohol this evening. I'm drinking a hot chocolate, Frank, because it's winter and it's a seasonal drink, and I may or may not have put Kahlua in it. It's undecided, Frank. It's undecided.
I've been doing some of that myself. I've been doing some of that myself this year, to be honest with you. So I very much
good for you.
Very much approve. Yes.
Good for you. Good for you. It's delicious, Frank. The hot chocolate. It's like, yeah. Are you a melt the chocolate kind of person, or are you a give me the powdered stuff and I got to constantly stir it to keep it going?
Yeah, I mean, guy? For the convenience factor, yeah, I go with like the Swiss Miss or the Nestle powdered stuff. But but it's on as a special treat. I'll do the melt the chocolate thing, and that's. So
that's stuff. That's the beauty.
That's the real
beauty.
Stuff.
It is the real stuff. Frank, no one else is real. Fighting is real. It
yes.
It hurts emotionally and physically, maybe spiritually, depending on how you're battling. But you know what else is real? Our love of Christmas movies. But Frank, like a Highlander, there can only be one Christmas movie.
Yes,
truly.
Yes.
Okay, but here's a real question. Are movies set at Christmas always Christmas movies?
No, not always.
No, they are not. I agree, because that's people will argue about Die Hard, right? I think that Christmas movies have to have a particular aesthetic attached to them, in which they must invoke Christmas in some way,
yes,
but also leave you feeling the spirit of the season.
Yes,
and that's really what makes a Christmas movie. Because we count It's a Wonderful Life as a Christmas movie, even though most of the movie doesn't take place at Christmas.
That's true.
And so, but it invokes the spirit of joy and has a good chunk of it set at Christmas. And therefore, maybe Die Hard does take place at Christmas, because when Hans Gruber falls out of the skyscraper, you're super happy because that guy was evil.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And that leaves you with the spirit of joy of the season. So It all works out, Frank.
Totally.
Anyway, Frank, we're going to do the Christmas movie bracket fight list, right? The movies, they're going to battle on a giant soccer field like they always do.
Yes.
They sprouted little arms, little legs. They're going to do some battling. So how weird would that be?
That would be
so anyway,
scary.
It would be. So I'm going to so I have a bracket here, and then we will post in the show notes afterwards.
Yes, you can follow along.
And we will decide what the ultimate Christmas movie is based on this arbitrary list. Right?
Yes.
Right? Okay. I'm just going to do one side and I'm going to do the other side.
That sounds good.
You're not
That
going to be
sounds
able to. You won't be able to stop me. Let's
That's
do
right.
ones you don't really care about, Frank. Die Hard versus Lethal Weapon. They both take place at Christmas. They both involve guns, and they both involve some sassy people.
I'm going to say Die Hard because it's the classic of these two. Like, it's the one that people argue over. It's the one that gets the most. But, I don't really care about this particular matchup. So I'm going to give it to Die Hard just because that's sort of the one that I think of more. I don't really think about Lethal Weapon in this context. Die Hard, I barely do. I'm not really in the Die Hard is a Christmas movie camp, but I respect the people who think so, and so I'm going to vote for Die Hard.
I agree with you. I like Lethal Weapon. I like the Lethal Weapon movies a lot. I used to watch them when I was a kid. Although embarrassingly, the fourth one was my favorite. Don't talk to me. I don't know why.
We'll just move past that.
Yeah, yes, exactly. And I like Die Hard. It's fine. I think Die Hard is slightly generational in that it is probably not a movie that will last beyond itself. Many people like it. There's less people that see it every year. It is not something that gets reintroduced to them. And maybe it'll make a big comeback, but it'll make a big comeback in the way that older movies sometimes do. But it doesn't have the staying power of some kind of movies. But it definitely has the staying power over Lethal Weapon, I think. And I think it is a better movie. And as far as Christmas movie goes, it does invoke the spirit of the season. It plays into the Christmas a little bit more. So I'm going to give it to Die Hard.
Okay.
Frank, this one is a little more challenging. Home Alone versus The Santa Claus.
So this one is really evil because these are two of my absolute favorites. And I've watched them both in the last couple of weeks. And, oh boy, I mean, what is the better movie, I guess, is how I'm going to evaluate it. Not which one do I like more, but which one is the better movie? And I think I have to give it to Home Alone on the merits.
I agree, Frank.
On the merits of being a better film. There are a lot of things that, Chris Columbus peppers throughout the movie. Things very early in the movie that are setting up things that will happen later. The tarantula, the gold tooth, little things like that are. I think it's a well constructed, pretty tightly written movie. And
John Hughes. It's a John Hughes film.
John Hughes.
He's the master.
Yep.
He knows what he's got the formula. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
I agree. Yeah, I love the Santa Claus.
I love the Santa Claus.
It's hilarious because it really paints a pretty picture. Santa rolling down the street in a Panzer.
Armand Asante? I love the Santa Claus, I think, more than I love Home Alone, but just looking at it more objectively, I think I'm going to give the win in the bracket to Home Alone.
Now, see, I actually like Home Alone more than the Santa Claus. Just because I think you're right, Home Alone is a better constructed film, which keeps me invested to that final moment when everybody comes home at the end. Kevin, what did you do to my room? And I think, right, that's another Kevin, stay out of my room, to Kevin going in the room and breaking all the stuff, to Kevin, what did you do to my room? Mm-hmm. That's a really well-constructed joke played over 3 acts.
Exactly.
The Santa Claus loses its steam in the 3rd act. Mm-hmm. The whole movie is really predicated on him becoming Santa Claus. So when he does, it's actually not as interesting. When they have to save Christmas, I'm not as interested.
Yeah, the sequels are certainly not as interesting.
No. But they're still fun. But and I love, and don't get me wrong, again, I love the Santa Claus. It's hilarious. There's some well constructed jokes in there. The Oscar Mayer wiener whistle,
yes,
that's good stuff. But it's not. It's not Home Alone.
All right, so Home Alone wins that
So-
round.
Home Alone wins that round. Moving on, The Grinch versus Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. Now, I'm going to be specific because there's a few Grinches out there and a lot of Rudolphs. The original cartoon Grinch versus the
Claymation Rudolph.
Ruby Spears Rudolph, the claymation Rudolph, the puppet Rudolph. Right. So this is tough for me. These are two of my absolute favorites.
This is not tough for me. It's Rudolph.
Really?
Yeah, I don't.
It's just flat out Rudolph.
Little secret. I've never really cared that much for the Grinch animated
Interesting.
special. Not that I dislike it. I do not dislike it. It's part of my rotation most years, but I don't have the same emotional attachment. I didn't watch it as much growing up, whereas I watched Rudolph every single year. So I have much more of an attachment to Rudolph. I looked forward to watching it every year. The Grinch was not something that I was as attached to. So for me, it's Rudolph all the way.
Oh, interesting. Okay. I love them both equally, I think. I watch them both every year without fail. I could probably quote it backwards and forwards. The message of the Grinch is amazing. I think it's better than Rudolph's, truthfully. Yep. Invoking the true spirit of Christmas. Which is the problem I have with the other Grinch movies, is that the Who's have to be told that that it's okay to not have presents at Christmas. Like, they have to go around and be like, no, shut up. It's okay. And they're like, oh, no, I guess you're right. But the original cartoon Grinch, or the original book, they already know that.
Yeah.
The presents are so superfluous. They just come out and go, isn't it so wonderful that we can be together? Isn't that awesome? And I love that message as opposed to Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, which is literally the opposite, that like, we'll have to cancel Christmas because nobody's going to have a present. And like, oh, don't worry, I'll get you there with the presents. And not to say that that's actually really the message. It's like, don't bully the kid that's different, and like, your parents are terrible. Like, you'll get over it. Don't worry, you'll be you. Like,
to me, the message of Rudolph is more about like how the misfits, the nonconformists, and remember, this is 1964, so we're talking about the civil rights era and all that. The nonconformists are the ones who save the day. The ones who are different, who are not like the rest, are the ones who actually save the day.
Absolutely.
And that they have to have each other's backs to do that in a world that's forcing them to conform. So I do think that there is actually a really good message for kids who feel left out and kids who were bullied and things like that. They're like, hey, it's okay, and you're gonna be okay, and you still have a place in this world, even if you haven't figured it out yet. You'll find it.
Mm-hmm.
But
no, I agree.
None of that to take away from.
I agree that. I know that you're right. All of that's there inside of. All of that is there inside of Rudolph, but Rudolph is also weirdly sexist and now, like, oh, stay here, this is a man's job, and Santa is the worst in that movie. Oh, your son looks weird. There's all kinds problematic, of course. Yeah, but it also leaves you the best line. Eat. Who's ever heard of a skinny Santa? It's gold, nothing. Bumbles bounce. He's gone.
Yeah.
Like, he's gone is a constant in my house all year.
What?
Like, have you seen? Herbie doesn't like my toys. It's so fun. It's so genius. Or even just like the ho ho, we are Santa's elves, and they're messing up, and he's like, "Well, that was terrible. I'm leaving." I do think that Rudolph offers. I actually, like, apart from loving them both, I think Rudolph offers a little bit more entertainment just at the end of the day.
Yep.
Whereas the Grinch is fun to watch, but it is what it is, and it's really built around the message in the song, and
which are both great.
Rudolph offers. And I think Rudolph offers more, and Rudolph, I think, is just a little bit more iconic than
I think that's
Grinch.
true. I think that's true too. All right, so we're going with Rudolph then.
Going with Rudolph.
All right.
This is a weird mashup, Frank. Here we go. Elf versus Batman Returns.
I mean,
this
Elf.
is not my list, just so we're all clear. I did not make this.
Elf, because Batman Returns, as much as I love it, it's not really a Christmas movie. Like, I've never really thought about it as a Christmas movie, not even the way people talk about Die Hard as being one. So I'm going to go Elf.
if you go under the rules that I set down about Christmas movies needing a particular aesthetic, they need to invoke the joy of the season and everything along those lines, then I think a Batman Returns does all of those things in spades, Frank.
Yeah?
No, I'm just no. No, I mean, I get overjoyed seeing Batman on screen, but that has nothing to do with Christmas. No. That is just me loving Batman.
No, you may feel the joy of the season because you remember your Batman toys from Christmas, and that's fine. But
that's possible. Yeah, I've never really thought about that before. I also, Batman Returns to me is a movie set at Christmas as opposed to it being a Christmas movie. Agreed. But I also feel that way about Die Hard and Lethal Weapon and Iron Man 3 and Kiss Kiss Bang Bang and all these other movies that are set at Christmas that are not really Christmas movies. So Elf falls into the problem that I have with the Santa Claus in that I think it has third act problems. And
I'll agree
once
with
they
you.
have to save Christmas, I think it's not as interesting.
Yeah. No, I agree. Still,
Yeah.
I do consider Elf an instant classic, and it's amazing how quickly that movie took hold as this is an every year Christmas movie that everyone needs to watch every year.
Yep, absolutely, I agree. Yeah, I agree. So Elf it is. All right, moving forward, Christmas Vacation versus A Christmas Story.
Okay, so moving to the other side of the bracket.
Yes, other side of the bracket.
This is another tough matchup. But I think A Christmas Story is a little more earnest, a lot more earnest, and a little more iconic because of it.
I hate A Christmas Story.
Okay.
I hate it.
So this is funny that I'm here being the Christmas Story defender because I don't love it that much either. But Christmas Vacation, as much as I like Christmas Vacation, I think A Christmas Story is a more... I think it's a more iconic Christmas movie, but I am not a big fan of A Christmas Story either. My sister and I argue over it because she loves A Christmas Story and I just think it's fine, but I still like it more and think it's more of a better Christmas movie than Christmas Vacation. But argue your case. I'm open to being persuaded.
I don't really think that you're wrong necessarily. I think it presents a better view of Christmas than Christmas Vacation. I think that Christmas Vacation is funnier. That doesn't necessarily make it a better Christmas movie. It just means that I find it funnier.
It is funnier.
Just like when So, but if we're going Christmas movie, I'll give you A Christmas Story, even though I hate it because I don't truly have strong feelings about one over the other and like which one wins. Like I would give it to Christmas Vacation, but that's just because I like it more than Christmas Story. But I recognize A Christmas Story being a better Christmas movie. So
A Christmas Vacation, is basically a and again, this is not a criticism of Christmas Vacation, but just to look at it objectively, it is kind of a series of vignettes that happen at Christmas.
That's right. Yeah, I agree. So you're taking points away for the lack of cohesion.
It's just that it's more of a National Lampoon movie that happens to take place that is sort of lampooning Christmas, the same way that Vegas Vacation lampoons Vegas and whatever all the other European vacations. Like it's that template of let's take a thing and do a bunch of jokes about it. Like let's point out all the things that are hilarious or silly or ridiculous about it. And it does that very well, but it's not really a Christmas movie. It's more of a comedy movie about Christmas.
Interesting.
Maybe that's a distinction.
Really interesting distinction.
Maybe that's a distinction without a difference.
The spirit of the season.
It lacks. The spirit of the
think
season.
it lacks the spirit of the season. So that's very good. Okay, Frank. Love Actually versus The Holiday.
I mean, Love Actually, no contest. I hate Uncle Jamie.
I hate Uncle Jamie. I hate him. I love The Holiday so much.
Really?
I mean, even though, I don't know. I like the cast a lot.
Great
I find
cast.
it incredibly charming. Great cast. I find it incredibly charming. Those movies, they live in fantasy lands of like none of this ever actually happens or does anything, and it's just a Hallmark movie with grade A actors.
Kind of, yeah.
And but I can say that I love that because like at the end, even though there's all this drama and turmoil, it's all going to work out great because it's Christmas.
That's right.
But I think that I think it's incredibly charming, even though some of it is a little problem. Even though like I guess parts of Love Actually are problematic too. But I love The Holiday. It is more of a movie set at Christmas than a Christmas movie. Like Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, they're like, is it Christmas? Like, does it matter that it's Christmas? And I think that makes a huge difference. Whereas Love Actually, it's literally a countdown to Christmas.
Yes.
It counts itself down to Christmas, showing what love is, which is really what the Christmas season also is. And I love the authenticity of some of the stories and the blatant Hallmarkness of the other stories.
Yes.
And that's what I really enjoy about it. Plus the jokes are amazing.
They're
so good.
Also,
I've realized cast.
On my most that's true. On my most recent viewing a couple weeks ago of Love Actually, it occurred to me that the hero of the movie, who would you say the hero of the movie is? Do you have an opinion on that? Or a name that comes to your mind? Colin. Colin is the hero of the movie because he, at the beginning of the movie, says, I'm going to go to America and I'm going to be hot stuff. And everyone tells him he's wrong. And he goes to America and stumbles into the first bar, orders a Budweiser, and he is hot stuff instantly. He is the only person who, like, sets a goal, pursues it,
follows
achieves it.
through with it.
And he was right. In spite of everyone telling him, you're just kind of an ugly, average-looking British dude, like you're not that special. He was like, no, I'm amazing, and I will prove it, and he does.
Yeah, no, that's true. I wouldn't necessarily mean he's the protagonist of the whole movie, because in a weird way, it is also a series of vignettes. But he is his own hero. He's actually one of my least favorite stories too, because
me too. But
he's
that's
so
why I
full of himself, and I don't agree with his choices.
I never entertained that thought until I watched it. I was like, he's actually, like, he has the confidence at the beginning, and he is right all the way through to the end. But I agree. He's not my favorite character. He's not the protagonist. But
what I think is so interesting is that was the person that came to my mind, because I just watched it a few days ago, and, like, I went through the whole thing in a second, and I went, no, it's Colin. Like, that is the person. That is crazy. Crazy when you think about it that way. No, I love it, and I think because some people have some like visceral reactions to some of the stories, and like whether that because it's the story itself, the way things are presented, and everything like that. I think that is in a weird way what makes it such a great movie is because we can still have this cultural conversation about this again grade A Hallmark movie that
from almost 20 years ago.
For almost 20 years,
yeah,
like so. And that there's something for everybody somewhere in there. Like there's a story that you can just fundamentally relate to. Like you may not relate to being two actors simulating a sex scene, but you can certainly, maybe you can relate to being a little awkward and actually finding somebody that you can get along with, like you've known them your whole life. And it doesn't matter what you're doing, but you can still talk to that person. You can relate to that. And that's beautiful. And that's what makes the movie so beautiful.
Agreed.
So I love it. Okay, great. Okay, The Polar Express versus A Christmas Carol. Again, there's a bazillion Christmas carols, so I'm going to make it specific here. The Robert Zemeckis, Jim Carrey Christmas Carol, because it's up against The Polar Express, which is also mocapped animated.
That's right.
Because otherwise it's A Christmas Carol. Get the hell out of here. Because you just choose your favorite Christmas Carol and move in from there.
I think I'm giving that to Polar Express.
Ew, no, I will not concede. I refuse.
Okay, interesting.
That movie is terrible. It's actually awful. They're dead. They're all dead. They're on a zombie train.
Yes, it looks
terrible. No good. It looks
awful. It looks awful.
Yeah.
I will stand here and now and tell you it looks awful. And yet, the Jim Carrey Zemeckis A Christmas Carol is A Christmas Carol the ride.
Sure is. Oh no, I absolutely will. I agree with you.
It's like you went to Universal and they threw you some red and blue 3D glasses and said, "Here you go, kids. Let's go on a ride with Scrooge."
But that's true. But the Polar Express is also Jordan's Furniture presents the Polar Express the ride. So, like,
people outside New England aren't going to get that, and I don't even care.
I know, but you get it, so that's all that matters. So, like, this is a conversation between friends. I don't care if anybody's listening or not listening.
Can we say they both suck? Like, I don't think either one of them is particularly good.
Right, and so that's why I'm not conceding on the Polar Express. The book is beautiful. It's a gorgeous story. I love it. But A Christmas Carol is better.
Well, A Christmas Carol, if we're going to go by the book, A Christmas Carol is better as a book.
If you take out the rides out of A Christmas Carol,
yeah,
I mean, and the rides out of a Polar Express, like, because they both have those moments, A Christmas Carol is still a better story.
Yes. Yeah, A Christmas Carol is a better story.
And it is the reason we celebrate the season the way that we do. Like, truly, like, Christmas was not really celebrated. Like, it was kind of a thing that people went to, fine. And then Charles Dickens wrote A Christmas Carol and changed the way we all celebrate Christmas.
Yeah, it was a religious celebration, but it wasn't the cultural sort of the secular phenomenon it's become. Yeah, that's true.
That's right. Yeah.
I will give you I will concede the point. I will give you A Christmas Carol purely on the merits of it being a better story than Polar Express. So I don't feel that strongly about it. So I'll give you that. I just want to say that the movie, that movie, the animated Jim Carrey Christmas Carol movie, I thought was horrendous. And I would rather watch Polar Express. I would rather watch Dead in the Eyes animated mocap Tom Hanks than Dead in the Eyes animated Jim Carrey any day. But I will concede and I will give you Christmas Carol.
I can certainly understand that, but at the end if I'm going to have to watch Dead in the Eyes animated something, I'd rather watch the one where I enjoy the story more.
All right.
And plus, it's also got Gary Oldman in it, who's Dead in the Eyes, Bob Cratchit. It's got Colin Firth. It's got a good, and Jim Carrey was a great Scrooge. So anyway, Christmas Carol.
Better Scrooge than he was a Grinch.
That is true. I hate that movie. Oh, it's so gross. That movie's gross. Okay. Anyway. Miracle on 34th Street, the one you love, whichever one that is.
The
one from the 40s. Yes.
Okay, that's my favorite. Yeah.
Okay, so because it's up against It's a Wonderful Life, which is roughly the same era. So because the one I love, the Miracle on 34th Street from the 90s the most.
Yeah.
But since it's paired with Miracle on 34th Street, we're gonna go with with Wonderful Life. We'll go with the ones that are of the same era.
Sure. Okay. To me, It's a Wonderful Life is perhaps the greatest Christmas. I mean, we'll see, this bracket will tell us, but I think it's perhaps the greatest Christmas movie ever made. So,
whoa,
yeah,
I really thought you were going to go Miracle on 34th Street. I know you love Miracle on 34th.
I really, really do, and this is a hard matchup for me. But It's a Wonderful Life is like, if I could only watch one Christmas movie in December, it would be It's a Wonderful Life. That's the one that I feel the most attachment to. I think that Miracle on 34th Street is absolutely is a classic. Absolutely is beautiful and wonderful, and it tells such a. I mean, think about in 1947. Think about that movie coming out in 1947, right after the war and everything, and we're talking about a department store Santa and the court case and all this stuff that comes after. It was a very modern tale. Like, it really was a very modern, the way that Elf is, I mean, even though it's almost 20 years old now, Elf is a very modern story.
That's right.
Miracle on 34th Street was at that time. It's a Wonderful Life, I feel like, is pretty timeless and very relatable. I have felt that I could relate to George Bailey at many points in my life. Either myself or people whom I love. I feel like I could draw a parallel to George Bailey, and I think that the message of that movie being that no man is what I forget the exact wording, but no man is alone who has friends. Is so beautiful and so powerful in the way that it's told. and he goes through some real stuff, and comes out the other side and is better for it. I think It's a Wonderful Life for me is the ultimate classic.
Okay, you make a great case for It's a Wonderful Life. I agree with you that it's better than Miracle on 34th Street, the 40s one, which I find kind of dull in some places. Like I just like the 90s one more, but I'm like really ready for the movie to move on and be done with what it needs to be done with by the time that it gets there. It's a Wonderful Life is compelling, and you're right, it is relatable and timeless in a way that many movies can't be. And even though it doesn't take place at Christmas the entire time, it does end at Christmas and invokes the true spirit of the season.
The message is
all
about
of the That's right. In all of the turmoil and love and joy that is wrapped up in that season, it's not just about fake turmoil, but real struggles that people have, all wrapped up in the Hollywood version. But okay, so that means It's a Wonderful Life. So we're moving on to the next round.
All right.
We talked about these movies a bunch, so I think this will be pretty fast
lightning round.
So lightning round: Die Hard versus Home Alone. It's Home Alone, right?
Home Alone.
Home Alone. Okay. Nope. Sorry, I just did a thing that I didn't want to do. But now I've got it. Home Alone.
By Jove.
Okay. Rudolph versus Elf. It's Rudolph, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's Rudolph, but
Elf spoofs Rudolph. Like you can't. I don't know if you could
true.
choose the spoof over the original.
That's true. The credits are like claymation, like Rudolph. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, even the suit he wears it's all like the aesthetic of it is like the snowman. A lot of it is really based. Even just the outsider fixing Christmas and everyone not believing in him, but then it is Rudolph with Will Ferrell as an elf instead.
Yeah.
He even saves Santa's sleigh like he would. So yeah, I got to say it's Rudolph. Christmas Story versus Love Actually.
Oh, Love Actually.
Love Actually.
Yeah.
Love Actually. And Zemeckis' A Christmas Carol versus It's a Wonderful Life. It's a wonderful life.
All right. So where does that leave us now? Let's recap before we do this final.
This is so crazy. It is. We have two more. We got Home Alone versus Rudolph. And Love Actually versus It's a Wonderful Life.
Okay,
I know it got challenging.
It got real.
The first round was easy.
Yeah,
in its own way. Home Alone versus Rudolph. This is really hard for me. I love both of them so much.
Can I say something?
Yeah, of course.
I kind of think it's Home Alone.
Whoa, really? That's crazy. I didn't think you were going to say that.
I know, but I kind of think it's a better movie. It's a better movie. No? Tell me if I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong.
No, you're absolutely right. It's a better movie. It's vastly more entertaining. It still holds to the spirit of the season, but the correct spirit of the season. It's not about the gifts. It's not about Santa Claus even. It's about the love of the people that should matter in your life and the selflessness of what you would do for them. And the power of greed and corruption and that as an ultimate downfall. Because the whole movie is about like Grinch characters. Like they're trying to steal stuff because they're greedy and they want it. And that is not what Christmas is about. Like, the movie's deeper than we really give it credit for.
Honestly, I just watched it last night. As we were recording this, I watched Home Alone last night. And, yeah, it is deeper than we give it credit for. I agree. Yeah. Everyone remembers it as being that movie where the little boy, sets traps in his house for the two grown men. But that's like 20 minutes of the movie.
Yeah, that is... It's not... most of it is not that at all.
No,
it's
that's
about
the
a kid
iconic part of it. But it's only like 20 minutes.
It's about a kid learning to what it means to be part of a family and to not be full of yourself and to be self-reliant, but also to belong. And it's really good. It's really good.
Yeah. Never buy a toothbrush unless it's approved by the American Dental Association. And if they can't prove it to you, don't pay for it. Run out of the store. Steal it. It's if they will not, if it's not backed by the ADA, what are you even doing? Do not pay money. Steal the toothbrush. That is the message of Home Alone. Steal the toothbrush.
Also, use paper bags or reusable bags so your plastic ones don't break in the middle of the sidewalk.
Yeah.
Low key. Yeah. 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 Also, if you're going to steal stuff from houses, don't flood them because they'll know it was you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Why does Kevin, when he calls the cops, why does he give the name of the people across the street instead of his, like, why does that happen? I was trying to figure that out. I was trying to make sense of that. And he's like, oh, my name's Murphy. And I'm like, why didn't you just give your own address and say, my name's McAllister, come here, help. I don't know.
Maybe because there's proof that they were in that house, because that's the house that they almost hit him with the van.
Yeah, I know.
So he knows they were. So he knows that they were in there, or maybe I don't know. Actually, that's a great question.
I don't know. I was trying to figure this out.
I don't know.
If someone knows, email me beerwithgeek@gmail.com because I really want to try and I missed it. I missed the detail of why that happened, and I would like to understand. Anyway, so Home Alone wins this round on the left side of the bracket.
And
the right
Love
side
Actually versus It's a Wonderful Life. You made your case about It's a Wonderful Life pretty strongly.
And I'm going to stand by it. I mean, as much as I love Love Actually, It's a Wonderful Life, I think, is fantastic.
So here...
I will hear your arguments, though.
Well, Frank, I think that you are correct in that It's a Wonderful Life is just really an excellent piece of film that didn't do well when it came out. It was really only on television rewatches that it became very popular around Christmas because they needed to fill the spot. They were like, we need something. This movie takes place at Christmas in some point, so let's just put this on TV, and that's how it became the classic that it is. And so, Love Actually can be problematic, and it can present the wrong ideas about love, and it doesn't always represent love. It represents it somewhat in a truthful way in a lot of places, but also not really sometimes in the true spirit of Christmas. And sometimes what characters are going through, like, Andrew Lincoln and Keira Knightley, like he loves his best friend's wife and he's like, I'm just going to show up at your house on Christmas Eve and tell you that I love you and that'll be the end of that and blah, blah, blah. That's the Hallmarky stuff that doesn't really happen in real life and shouldn't. Just don't do that.
Don't do that.
But It's a Wonderful Life is a good representation of what life can actually be like and how it can get you down in a real way, and how you can bounce back from that with the joy of family and whatever else. And so invoking the spirit of Christmas, aesthetically, Love Actually works better, but the actual joy of the season is within Love Actually more. So, I mean, It's a Wonderful Life more. So I will concede to It's a Wonderful Life.
Okay. All right. So that leaves us with Home Alone and It's a Wonderful Life then?
That leaves us with Home Alone and It's a Wonderful Life. Crazy pants.
I would like to
absolutely crazy
give
pants.
you the floor first on this final round.
I think that It's a Wonderful Life is indeed wonderful. I'm going to go back to my original point in that it doesn't always take place at Christmas. It happens through the course of many months in many seasons over many years, whereas Home Alone is a condensed story that kind of not tells the same story, but about growing up, responsibility, all that stuff. The fact that Jimmy Stewart is supposed to play an 18-year-old at one point, but also be 40 by the end of the movie. Like, what are you doing? Like, oh my God. Home Alone doesn't really have those problems. Home Alone is a well compacted, well constructed story that appeals to different age groups for different reasons. But at the end of the day, it delivers one of the true messages of secular Christmas, in that it's about the people you love and not being selfish, but being a gift for others. In whatever way that you can do that. And I think because it takes place at Christmas, it really does hold up the Christmas aesthetic. The soundtrack fits, it plays into it and all that stuff. And I think that's actually where It's a Wonderful Life lacks a little bit, just ever so slightly. So, yeah, it's on you.
That's fair. Those are good arguments. Those are valid arguments. I would say that I think that Home Alone is more of an all audiences movie. There is something for everyone. Even when you're a kid, there is something there for you. Whereas It's a Wonderful Life, it's probably boring for kids. That said, I think that It's a Wonderful Life, looking at it through, if you look at each movie as what who they're trying to talk to, and who the intended audience is for each. Obviously, the intended audience for It's a Wonderful Life is much more of an adult audience who has some life experience under their belt and can relate to the, trials and tribulations that the Jimmy Stewart character goes through, George Bailey. And you don't fully understand it until you're an adult. Whereas Home Alone, even if you're a kid, you can kind of, you get it. You get what's happening, and it's much more accessible. I think the message of It's a Wonderful Life is more profound than Home Alone, and that given the right maturity and when you reach the age where you are, when you age into the target demographic for the movie, I find it more powerful than Home Alone. But I certainly see that if we're talking about a Christmas movie that is like broad appeal and is a family movie and that everyone can watch and enjoy to pretty much an equal extent, Home Alone probably is the winner by those criteria. So if that's how we're scoring it, I would have to give it to Home Alone. For me, It's a Wonderful Life is the more profound and the more meaningful and the more honestly more heartwarming, because it's like the stakes are higher, because we're talking about someone who's about to throw away his life versus the kid who was left home alone. But I see that for a modern audience in particular, and for an all ages audience, Home Alone is probably the winner.
So you make an excellent point about the message and it having a stronger impact and aging into it and all that stuff. Like, can you, as an adult, sit down and watch Home Alone without watching it as a kid and being like, yeah, I get this is Christmas. This feels like Christmas. I don't know if that hits home the way It's a Wonderful Life does. A movie I did not see until I was much older in the first place. I did not grow up with it. So,
but Home Alone, I presume you grew up with Home Alone.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So to get the sense in the spirit of Christmas within It's a Wonderful Life, actually, as an adult, maybe holds more sway. So I say we just flip for it because the criteria isn't clear enough. Okay. So, do you have a coin or an online flipper?
I have an online flipper.
Okay, so
flip a coin.
Heads.
Oh yeah, let's decide what that's going to be
Kevin
first, yeah.
Because Kevin has a head, and tails for It's a Wonderful Life because he runs around chasing his own tail most of the time.
What kind of scary ass Jimmy Stewart came to your birthday?
A dead one.
Oh, okay. All right. I'm gonna ask my Apple assistant to flip a coin.
It's tails this time.
Tails. Jimmy Stewart wins.
Tails. Jimmy Stewart wins with It's a Wonderful Life.
All right.
Wow. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with the classic movie winning.
I said early on that I for my money, It's a Wonderful Life is the be all end all Christmas movie. So I am very happy with the outcome of this.
Okay, well, that was fun, Frank. That was fun. We dived into it. I'm sorry for all those who thought that Die Hard won. We made our case. Shut up. Yeah. Yeah. Yep.
Right on. Well, hey,
I regret nothing.
Thank you for everyone for listening, and stay tuned. If you enjoyed this, stay tuned. Next week at this same time, you will get to hear the Thought Bubble Audio Holiday Special right here in this same feed. So keep your eyes open next week for the Thought Bubble Audio Special. We have pulled together hosts of various Thought Bubble Audio podcasts all together, a big crossover to talk about to hate watch, a holiday hate watch, our annual tradition of this year. We the victim was the Netflix's Princess Switched again, which don't knock until you've tried it, because it was actually kind of a fun movie as far as much as those low budget Christmas rom-coms go. It was actually a lot of fun. So check that out. And even if you didn't watch the movie, I think you'll enjoy us just talking about it. But we got together with our friends from Hate Watch with us, and Palmer from Academy Rewind and Batwoman TV Talk, and my wife Marissa from Loud Women, and we just had a blast, all of us getting together to do that, as we do every year. It's sort of our annual holiday tradition. So stay tuned for that next week if that's up your alley. But otherwise, you can find us at beerwithgeeks.com. You'll find links to all the other shows I just mentioned from there through the thoughtbubbleaudio.com website. You'll also find links to support us on Patreon at patreon.com/thoughtbubbleaudio. Thank you so much to everyone who supports us there and makes it easier for us to pay for server costs and keep all these shows going. You can find us anywhere you listen to podcasts, any app that you like. Many people are listening these days in Google Chrome or whatever their browser is, and that's great. But if you'd consider subscribing, and it's free to subscribe in an app like Overcast or Apple Podcasts or Google Podcasts or Amazon or Stitcher or Spotify, any of those apps, it's free, and you'll never miss an episode. Every episode comes straight to your app. So consider that. You can also leave us ratings and reviews in all of those apps, which would be very much appreciated and help other people find us and let them know that you stand behind our show. And you can also email us at beerwithgeeks@gmail.com. If you know why Kevin McAllister calls about the Murphys across the street, please email me at beerwithgeeks@gmail.com or tweet me at beerwithgeeks on Twitter, and that would be very much appreciated. But Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays to everyone listening, and stay tuned next week for our holiday special.
It was wonderful, Frank. It was always a pleasure to talk to you. And so, until next time,
cheers.